Nancy, let me switch to health care. What happens to it now? It died in the Senate on this round. Is there a new round?
It's never completely dead. It's always there sort of in a coma and potentially could be resuscitated. So the Senate Majority Leader has made it very clear he's moving on to other issues. There's a lot on the Senate's plate that they need to get done. But certainly going forward, if Republicans somehow could figure out some plan that could bring together 51 Republicans, they would bring it back to the Senate floor. However, they've made several tries this week. They set their sights lower and lower and lower, and they still never got there. And so, there are a number of Republicans, including Senator Flake and others, who have said, okay, we've tried that. Let's try working with Democrats now on a package of fixes for Obamacare. But there are a lot of Republicans, especially those in the House, who are not ready to go there yet.
But let's not get past this week without understanding whose fault this is. If you go back to the original sin of the way that we talked about Obamacare, there are two essential falsehoods that we need to understand. First was from the president himself, who promised that you would be able to keep your doctor, your plan, and that your premiums would go down. If those things had happened, Obamacare today would be completely uninsolvable and would be extremely popular. The next was the Republican promise in 2010 when they started campaigning on repealing and replacing Obamacare. At the same time, the current commander-in-chief was firing Sinbad on Celebrity Apprentice. They formed that and chose to campaign on repeal and replace for the following 7 years, and they did so to great electoral effect, when in reality about half of the caucus in the Senate, and perhaps even more, was totally unwilling to ever get to full repeal and replace. And if you want an example of that, just look this week at the behavior of someone like Rob Portman. 7 out of the 10 top employers in the state of Ohio are insurers or hospital systems. They depend on tax exemptions and on subsidies flowing to them. He was never going to get to yes on a repeal that included reform or restriction of any of the Medicaid expansion that was enacted under Obamacare. And skinny repeal itself, had it passed, would have been a failure. It would have been an expression of rolling back just 8 of the 419 provisions of Obamacare. That is not repeal, and it certainly is not replace. This is a failure that is at the core of the Republican experience in the last several years, and it depends on the fact that they chose to lie.
All right, we have just 10 seconds left. I know you were just with Senator McCain. Can you give us a quick?
I can just tell you that he is in Sedona with his family. He is courageous and stubborn, and he is ready to fight this with every fiber of his being.
All right, thanks to all of you, and we'll be right back at a look at rushing to judgment.